Welcome to California in Focus. I'm Aliana Kernodle. A winter storm carried off the end of the Santa Cruz Wharf 2 days before Christmas, indefinitely shutting down the tourist attraction that houses 17 stores and restaurants. Joining me with more on this story is the Center Square's California reporter, Kenneth Schrupp. Kenneth, tell us about this wharf and the damages it sustained.
Hey, Liana. The Santa Cruz Wharf is really the centerpiece of Santa Cruz's commercial and tourism industry. It is an icon for the city that stretches out about half a mile from the shore. It's over 100 years old. It was built in 1914 and sits on over 4,000 aging wood pilings that need to be frequently replaced or repaired. The whole sad part about this tragedy, which nearly cost the lives of 3 city workers who were on the pier when it collapsed and was partially brought out to sea, is that this is all entirely preventable. The city has allowed about $14 million of repairs to pile up in a backlog, and they've had plans and funding to move ahead with these repairs, but they've been blocked by environmental groups who say that it would do too much to change the local area and surrounding beauty.
Yeah, the wharf has been the center of controversy for nearly a decade now. Can you get deeper into that?
Yeah, of course. The city approved a 2016 master plan for the wharf 4 years after they introduced it. They approved the plan in 2020 that would have created a walkway around some of the at-risk pilings to help protect the wharf as a bit of a fender, like on a car, to absorb some of the damage from waves. But local residents organized under a group called Don't Morph the Wharf to block the plan's adoption. And we're finally starting to see the results of delaying these repairs for so long. It also brings up some interesting points about what happens under the California Environmental Quality Act. Don't Morph the Wharf sued the city under CEQA, which allows groups to challenge projects pretty much indefinitely on the grounds that sufficient environmental review has not been completed. This is used to hold up the construction of pretty much anything in the state that someone with enough time and enough money to keep filing court challenges can use to keep stuff from being built pretty much forever. So Don't Morph the Wharf won in court, which led the city to have to unveil an updated plan, which the group has continued to challenge. Jillian Greensight, who's a member of Don't Morph the Wharf, wrote in the Santa Cruz Sentinel about this updated plan is the city is pushing the impression that the walkway is necessary to preserve the structural integrity of the wharf. Putting obstacles in the way does nothing for safety or structural integrity. She also continued, the Historic Preservation Commission, arguably the most important given the historic nature of the wharf, recommended removal of the west side walkway, which degrades the visual character of the wharf and is incompatible with its historic design. This updated plan, which is pretty much exactly like the 2016 plan, was approved at the start of 2024, but unfortunately, the repairs have not been able to be completed in time. On Monday, December 23rd, just before Christmas, a winter storm collapsed a 150-foot section, resulting in 3 workers being swept away into the sea. Thankfully, they were okay. No one died. No one was seriously injured. But nearby beaches were shut down to the risk of debris. People didn't want to be hit by large chunks of pier that could really hurt someone.
What should we expect going forward?
Well, there are 17 businesses that operate on the pier. It's a hub of economic development for the city and region. That's what Santa Cruz Mayor Fred Keeley said, while he offered financial support for the businesses on the pier that are now affected by this. They're shut down. There's no reopening timeline in sight as this pier remains unfinished. The city did approve a tax hike to shore up its finances, but it's currently in a deficit, and the city expects deficits for the next 8 out of 10 years. So these costly emergency repairs might not be possible without state support. But this being a disaster, albeit an easily averted one, it's now received the governor's attention, and Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he's coordinating with the state disaster agency, which does mean that state disaster funds could soon provide support to actually fix this problem. It's a real shame that this had to become a disaster, but the silver lining is that now the city is going to have the money it needs probably from the state government to make necessary repairs.
Does this change the plan for repairs, or is it still kind of the same process?
I'm not really sure if it changes the plan for repairs. I do think repairs are going to move forward probably as originally planned. What the invocation of a disaster could do is allow these repairs to be made quickly without lawsuits and challenges. That with the proper kind of declaration from the governor, if he deems it an important project, it is possible now to waive CEQA for projects that the governor has determined by executive order to be worthy of it. The governor first deployed this tool to accelerate production of the site's reservoir. It'd be the first reservoir in California with more than I believe 1 million gallons of storage since the 1970s. It's been discussed and under construction for or consideration and planning for decades now. And it's only through the governor's new executive order that it's been able to clear the last environmental hurdles for repairs. So we could really see the governor's executive powers put to work here to quickly bring the situation under control.
Well, Kenneth, thank you for your insights on this story. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.